This is The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Roadmap, exclusively here on ASBN.com. I'm Lee Heisman, and every week we bring you some of the brightest entrepreneurs, CEOs and business owners who are climbing the ladder, scaling their businesses, and thinking about how one day to exit stage left. And talking about exiting stage left, I have a wonderful, wonderful guest today, Bill Duke.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
My gosh, Bill, good to see you again. And we talk about that curtain call, right? Exiting stage left. You've been on and off stage, of course, in terms of the camera, in front of the camera, behind the camera. Your name, it just in itself speaks volumes. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Bill, you know, at a young, spry 81 years old, which I couldn't believe, and you said I could talk about that.
Yes.
How have you kept yourself in this industry of the movie industry as long as you have? What inspired you to get into it many years ago?
I think for me, I grew up in a time of segregation. And so I was inspired by visual images on screen. And one of those important figures was Sidney Poitier.
Of course.
And then Harry Belafonte.
Of course.
You know, I looked at them, but I wasn't into acting because they were so rare. But I went to a Dutchess Community College studying English. I was going to be an English major, and I used to write because I was bashful and write my journals, etc. And I got into a class, and you had to act in the class. And I did a play called The Emperor Jones. And some hit me. It's hard to explain, you know. And so I went to BU, became an English major, and met Lloyd Richards, one of the first black directors on Broadway with A Raisin in the Sun, and he became my mentor. And took me to the Negro Ensemble Company, and encouraged me to keep going in spite of all of the things that you face, but never allow me to say, I give up or stop or anything.
Well, you know, dating myself in my mid-50s now, there were shows that I grew up on, and shows that a lot of people may not even know that you were an actor in. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to reference the new versions of Charlie's Angels and Starsky and Hutch, but the original versions of Charlie's Angels, Starsky and Hutch, Dallas, Benson, Car Wash.
Yes.
These were monumental TV shows back in the day. How did you get involved to even break into those opportunities?
I had good agents at the time, and they would, you know, even if the first time they went, the network or studio said no, they would go back 5 more times. And so based upon their belief in me, I was able to do those shows.
So let me ask you a question, because we talk about TV, and we're going to get to movies, of course, and I want to get to where your future is going, which is our current social media world of YouTube. We'll get to that. But you actually transitioned from acting into directing. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Talk about how does it happen? You just wake up and say, I want to direct something? It can't be that easy.
No, I started out directing stage plays. I used to be I wrote and directed some of my own things, and then I went to the Negro Ensemble Company and directed under Robert Hooks and other people who pioneered. And I was always intimidated by the equipment. I mean, stage is one thing, but when you have lights and cameras and sound, and so someone encouraged me to go to the American Film Institute. And as a result, I became familiar with the tools of directing.
So, well, let me ask you this question, because, Bill, you've had such a successful career. We're going to get further down the road. But in these early stages, you know, for people out there listening and watching this, was it as easy as you make it seem? How many mistakes did you make? What catastrophic failures or obstacles did you run into?
Well, you know, when I first started, I learned a little bit, but I didn't really understand that in terms of directing specifically. It's a creative process, but it is also a management process. And you're managing 3 things: time, people, and money.
And money. It does come down to the dollar. We talked about that earlier, right?
If you can be the most wonderful director in terms of your imagination and your creativity, but if you cannot manage time, people, and money, because the investor is trusting you to manage their money and return their investment with a profit. So, I mean, there are a lot of directors, today that can do 20, 30 takes in one scene. In those days, no.
Wow. So those days, they had to move on very, very quickly.
Well, again, you have the producers in those days were not in the office. They were on the set.
And you were a producer, if I'm incorrect. You
Yes.
produced a lot yourself. So
Yeah.
again, as we segue into your movie career, talk about the acting in TV, the directing. What elevated you to producing?
Well, I wanted to know more about the business. Because most of us, as creative people, we win in the creative process, but lose in the business aspect. Because we're driven in the creative process by our emotions, but there's nothing emotional about time, people, and money.
So let's segue, Bill, a little bit into the movie career, right? You're infamous in all of the movies that you've done. I mean, not only were you in Commando, American Gigolo. You were in American Gigolo as well. Mel Gibson's movies, Bird on a Wire, Payback. And then we get to the infamous, I said Commando and the other Schwarzenegger movie you're probably known for a lot.
Predator.
Yeah,
Yes.
talk a little bit about this. If you look at a pattern of doing 2 movies with Mel Gibson, doing at least 2 movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, is this coincidence that you're working with certain actors, or is it someone that they look out for you or you look out for them and try to do more movies together?
It was mutual. A lot of it's just about the experience of working with another human being that they're talented, they're respectful, they don't bring their ego to the set. And when they say cut and go on to the next scene, there's a mutual camaraderie, because when you're an actor, you understand the pressure that you're under. You have to come prepared. If you have respect for your other actors and for the director and for the scene, you don't just come and make things up or I forgot my lines. Or
Have you ever run into that? Have you ever forgot your lines?
unfortunately, I don't want to say the movie, but at a time in my career, because of a lot of rejections, I killed the pain with alcohol and drugs.
Get out of here.
And so one day, the set of a big movie, I, during lunchtime, smoked a joint, and I went back on the set. The director said, "Action." And I could not remember one word.
Oh my gosh. Was everybody looking at you? What happened?
15 takes.
And that's not normal, 15 takes?
No.
No, okay, fair.
2.
2, what? Yes.
But I forgot where I was.
Did you talk to anybody afterwards? Did they get with you after that scene and say, what the heck is going on, Bill?
Yes, the director and the producers and the other actors in the scene, they were really pissed off at
What
me.
did you say to them?
Was I finished?
But you finished that movie out. Did you ever have a laugh with them afterwards?
Afterwards we laughed, but there was a real disappointment because, it was self-indulgent,
Fair.
but I learned a lot from that experience. But anyway.
Well, Bill, and for viewers out there right now, I have to say, your transparency is just amazing. The fact that you're willing to share something like that, it's an amazing story for me, because you and I, when we were coming onto this show, I have to compliment you. We had a small miscommunication. We were in studio, we had a few guests, and we had just miscommunicated. And I said, Bill, not a big deal. We'll just get together in a month or two. You must have called me back at least 2 different times to tell me, excuse me, Lee, I need to make this right. I need to come in and see you. Mm-hmm. And it was so touching. I was like, I'll see you in the new year, a few months from now. And when you called back a few times, and that core person that you are, and I could feel it over the phone. And we had met a few times in advance of this, but I could feel it. I said, I have to work the schedule around. How did you get to be that person? Because most people don't do that. Most people, if there was a miscommunication, they would simply just move on, schedule it in the next part of their day. But there was a yearning inside of you to fix our miscommunication and to resolve it. And it just puts you on a new level from my vantage point. How did you become that person?
I think through several things, through parents who really taught me values that I live by today. I would say a meditation technique I've been doing for almost 50 years, transcendental meditation. I would say my belief in transcending your ego, which is edging God out. I would say people that love me beyond my losses and gains. I never say it's me, because me is a mispronunciation of something. If you look into the mirror and you look and say, what is me? If you look long enough, you know what I'm saying?
I do. Talk about the next chapter for you, because you are, other than TV and directing and producing in movies, you're getting into the new social media world of YouTube here. And
Yes.
if I'm incorrect, you're going to be launching a new channel, the official Bill Duke channel on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes, we're in the process, a team of people and myself are putting that together. I never want to stop working. I don't want to retire. There's too much to do. And my daughter, I have 4 grandchildren now. One is 2, one is 9 months, one is 9 years old, one is 11 years old. And in terms of legacy, I want to leave them something positive and healing, because I hate to say this, but we're living in some very divided times. And I don't want to leave a legacy of division. I want to help bring people together and to create a network that, yes, it recognizes our differences, but really shows our commonalities.
Well, is that what the YouTube channel is going to be focusing on? Bringing people together?
It's going to be focusing on our differences, but our commonalities also. The fact that we're different colors, we're different genders, all of those things. But when it comes down to the final analysis, we're all the same mist.
Absolutely. We have a lot more in common than we do differently.
And that's what's concerning to me today, because look at all the wars that are going on. Children dying and being murdered in the name of what? It disturbs me.
Fair.
Because, as I said, I have grandchildren. What legacy are we leaving them? Do we care? I have friends that are very wealthy. More money, as I said, they can spend in 5 lifetimes, and they're miserable.
Yeah. The happiness comes from within. Well, Bill, and even in the time that I've spent with you previously and today, you can see that core individual is what really attracts me to you, and I know it attracts others. And I know I'm going to watch the YouTube channel when you launch it a few weeks from now, and hopefully by the time this gets out, it'll be active, and it is called the official Bill Duke YouTube channel.
Yes.
So I know I'm going to follow you.
Thank you.
And in your illustrious career, I love the platform you have. You created this platform, but you have this amazing platform now to share about that and try to bring people together and unite them.
Yes, that's my goal.
Well, you're doing it today already, and you're achieving that goal with me, and I hope that the rest of our audience out there gets the same results. Bill Duke, my gosh, thank you for coming on the program
Thank you, my
today.
friend. I really appreciate it. God
What a
bless you.
treat to be around you. The rest of my day is made. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, please go back and watch some of Bill's old shows. You're going to see him. He doesn't change much. He looks the same. You look the same. You look wonderful. My gosh.
Thank you.
Do follow his YouTube channel, The Official Bill Duke, of course, and that'll be launching, probably launched by the time this comes out. And Bill, thank you so much again, and thank you for joining us today. I hope this show was as insightful for you as it was for me. And we hope to see you again in another episode of The Roadmap.
Thanks for watching The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.